It's funny, isn't it? We often think of wisdom as something static, just sitting there in old books. But actually, it's much more alive. And today, diving into the Bhagavad Gita with the materials you sent us, we'll really see how yogic understanding isn't just passive reading, it's active.
Exactly. The Bhagavad Gita, I mean, it's such a cornerstone, celebrated for its profound spiritual insights. That's our focus.
Right.
And it's way more than just an ancient text. It feels like a practical guide, even now, offering perspectives on life, duty, inner freedom.
And that's exactly the plan for this deep dive. You've given us some fantastic commentaries and translations. So our mission really is to cut through some of the density, pull out that core wisdom from the Gita that still speaks to us, get those aha moments without getting totally bogged down.
Sounds good.
So where's the best place to start with something so, big?
A good entry point, I think, is how this wisdom is traditionally passed on. The teacher-student dynamic. The commentaries really stress pranipatena, pariprasnana, and savaya. Basically, respect, deep questioning, and engaged service in learning yogic wisdom.
Right. Now, those words, pranipatena, savaya, they can sound a bit, old-fashioned, prostration, service. It might make you think of, weird power dynamics.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
And the commentaries we're looking at, they make it clear this isn't about blind submission at all.
Okay.
It's much more about building a real connection, open communication between the guide and the learner. Service, for instance. It's framed as actively taking part, keeping the mind focused, receptive.
I see.
In pranipatena, that respect.
Yeah.
It's more about valuing the wisdom itself, not, groveling.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's like creating the right conditions for learning, Yeah. A space where insight can actually flow.
Exactly.
And the questioning part, pariprasana, that feels super relevant. Anyone in trying to really get something needs to ask questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Gita itself. I mean, look at Arjuna. He's constantly questioning Krishna, even accusing him of confusing him sometimes. It shows that genuine inquiry isn't just allowed, it's encouraged. It's about wanting to understand deeply, not just nodding along.
Right, like that friend who keeps asking, but why? Until it clicks. And I like that the commentaries also mention Anasuya being free from fault-finding. That seems vital for any real learning, doesn't it? Less cynicism.
Precisely. That positive, trusting dynamic, characterized by, respectful curiosity and ditching the negativity, it's presented as key to unlocking those deeper truths.
Okay, so that foundation is crucial how we share and receive wisdom. Now, the Gita also talks a lot about divine appearances, these avatars. What's the core takeaway there?
Well, the central idea, summed up in Samavema Yuga Yoga, is that the divine shows up, age after age, for specific reasons.
Okay.
To uplift the good folks, basically, to counteract the negative forces, and to reestablish Dharma, those principles of balance and right living.
So it's not just random, it's like a cosmic course correction, a nudge back towards harmony.
Exactly. A periodic realignment. And the line, Janmakama Divyam, is crucial. It says that understanding the transcendental nature of these appearances and actions, seeing them as divine, not bound by our normal rules, that understanding itself leads to liberation, freedom from rebirth.
Wow. Okay, that's huge. Just understanding the why and how of these divine events impacts our own spiritual path. It's not just mythology, it's a key.
That's the profound implication, yes. And one commentary brings up the mystery of incarnation itself, suggesting it comes from a deep inner longing within us. It's not casual, it's like a response.
That's a beautiful thought, a cosmic answer to our deepest spiritual hunger. Okay, shifting slightly. Karma, action, another area that often gets, tangled up.
Oh, definitely. The Gita even says the wise get confused about action and inaction. Kiya karma, kiyama karneti, shows you how subtle it is.
Right, because we usually just think action means moving your body.
Yeah.
But the Gita suggests it's layered.
Very much so. We need to get the difference between right action, karma, harmful action, vyokarma, and this concept of inaction with inaction.
Yeah, inaction with inaction, okay.
Yeah, think of karma as the ripples from your choices, vikarma as deliberately harmful ripples and a karma. It's like being the calm center while the wheel turns. The commentaries stress that really grasping this takes, deep awareness.
So it's not just do good, avoid bad. There's a consciousness level to understanding how our actions create results, seen and unseen.
That's it. But the Gita offers a way through in Yoga Sannyasa Karmiya. It says actions done in devotion, where you're not focused on personal gain, just the offering itself, and where knowledge has cleared away your doubts. those actions don't bind you. They don't create negative baggage.
Selfless action again. Acting without attachment to the fruits. Seems like a recurring theme, a really core principle.
It is. And the Gita talks about using the weapon of knowledge, yina sanatmana, to slice through doubts born of ignorance. It's a powerful metaphor. It really is. It just highlights how crucial wisdom is for navigating action. By understanding reality, our place in it, we can dismantle the doubts that trap us in binding actions.
Right understanding fuels right action, which leads to freedom. Got it. Now, the Gita also really hammers home the importance of inner work, that internal struggle.
Oh, absolutely. One commentary makes the point that fighting your own mind, much harder than any external fight.
Yeah.
Our minds frame everything, values, relationships, choices.
That rings so true. You can conquer the world outside, but if inside is chaos, peace is impossible. And that idea of mental detachment, the railway station analogy, being there but not caught up.
Yes. It's not about becoming a hermit. It's about cultivating inner non-attachment, being present like that traveler on the train, but not getting swept away by every little distraction, maintaining focus inward.
That feels incredibly useful in today's world, just constant noise, being present but not consumed. Okay, let's talk Sankhya. It's presented as the wisdom Arjuna lacked initially.
Exactly. Sankhya is described as that foundational wisdom of life, understanding reality deeply. Arjuna's initial arguments, they were all surface level.
Right. Emotional reactions, attachment.
Based on sensory input and instinct, not that higher, clearer view. Sankhya is kind of the why, understanding reality. And then yoga is the how, the practices to align with it, map and journey.
So moving beyond just what we see and feel to grasp the underlying nature of things, and that crystal analogy, the pure crystal-looking colored. How does that explain Sankhya?
It's a brilliant illustration of consciousness. The crystal itself is clear, right? But put a red flower next to it, it looks red. Our consciousness is like that crystal. It seems colored by whatever we perceive. But our true self, like the crystal, remains pure, distinct from the changing world. The commentary notes our view is always partial, like the crystal only reflecting one color of the flower. We never see the whole picture at once.
That's a powerful reminder. Our reality is filter. True wisdom is seeing that filter. And how does Sankhya, this wisdom, connect to yoga, the action?
Well, the commentaries insist that real yoga, effective action, must be rooted in Sankhya, in that knowledge. Without understanding reality clearly, our actions just get us more tangled up.
Right.
So yoga really works when it's informed by the wisdom of Sankhya.
So it's not just poses and breathing. It's aligning what we do with a deeper understanding of what is.
Right.
Okay. Now, Chapter 2 of the Gita, often called the core teaching, the synthesis. Why is it so central?
It really lays out the bedrock principles of both Sankhya and yoga as a complete path for spiritual living. Some commentators even say the rest of the Gita just unpacks the verses from Chapter 2.
Wow.
Gives you the whole framework, individual, world, divine.
And Arjuna, bless him, gets confused,
Right.
which is relatable. If knowledge is key, why all the emphasis on action, too, feels contradictory?
It's a very natural question, and the Gita tackles it head on. The teaching is action based on knowledge. And importantly, all action creates bindings, unless it's done as a sacrifice, yadyartat karma nanshrat, which means acting for the sake of harmony, cooperation with everyone, without selfish motives or clinging to results.
That idea of sacrifice keeps popping up. Acting selflessly is the way to transcend the downsides of action. And the story of Janapharata, the quiet sage with inner power, what's that about?
Ah, yes. He illustrates a different kind of strength, doesn't he? The power that comes from wisdom and detachment. And it also hints that the truly wise are often humble. They don't necessarily broadcast their knowledge. They guide gently.
A good reminder that real strength isn't always noisy. And the Gita flat out says, Prakriti, nature's energy, does all the actions. Our ego thinking we're the sole doer. That's ignorance, Brikatate Kriya money.
It is a humbling thought, right? It shifts the focus from me doing this to recognizing these bigger forces at play, the qualities of Prakriti. Our ego just creates this illusion of being the independent star of the show.
Now, another big player, desire, and its shadow anger. How does the Gita suggest we handle these intense energies?
Well, desire and anger are said to spring from the rajasic quality of Prakriti, that mode of passion, activity, often leading to actions that are partial, self-serving, maybe even destructive.
Right.
The Gita suggests a direct approach. Manage the senses by cultivating a powerful aspiration for something higher. Universal consciousness, Brahmakarvriti.
So instead of just squashing desires, we aim for something much bigger, more encompassing, and the smaller poles just fade. Like focusing on a mountain, the foothills don't seem so important.
Exactly that. You focus on the unity of everything, strive for that oneness, and the energy that usually fuels selfish craving gets redirected towards something far more fulfilling.
Okay, action desire. Let's circle back to karma and rebirth, that cycle. How's it explained?
Karma is presented as an automatic payback, cause and effect. The reaction fits the action. The world is often described as a mirror, just reflecting our own stuff back at us.
Striking image. Reality reflecting our inner state and choices, and the fear of death. We know it's coming, but we fear it. The Gita talks about this.
It does. One commentary asks this really deep question. Who or what inside us actually doesn't want to die? It's not just the body that's temporary, not just the mind that changes constantly. It hints at something deeper, eternal within us, a kind of innate pull towards permanence in our very impermanent lives.
Like a deep echo of something beyond the physical form. And for those on the path, but who don't quite reach full realization in one lifetime, what then?
The Gita offers a reassurance, the promise of rebirth in purported conditions, where they can pick up where they left off, spiritually speaking.
Yeah.
They carry forward their spiritual momentum. Progress isn't lost. Might even be faster next time around.
That's comforting. Every genuine effort counts. It lasts.
Okay, the Gita mentions different paths to liberation, to moksha. Can you give us this quick tour?
Sure. You've got Jnana Yoga, the path of wisdom, Ashtanga Yoga, discipline of mind and body, Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, love, and Karma Yoga, selfless action.
Right.
It also discusses sannyasa, renunciation, but stresses that true renunciation of desire is tough without the foundation of yoga. So options, not one size fits all. Different strokes for different folks, basically. Paths that suit different temperaments. And that idea of seeing yourself in everyone. Sarva Putatma Pshatma. That sounds incredibly profound.
It's seen as the pinnacle, yeah.
Yeah.
Recognizing your own self is the same self in every living thing. Oneness. And the Gita also clarifies something important. God doesn't directly cause suffering or create our flaws.
Okay.
Those arise from how Prakriti, nature, works and from our own choices. It avoids that simple, God did its explanation for suffering.
That's a key distinction. Prevents blaming everything on the divine. Now, devotion, bhakti, seems like a really central thread through the whole thing. What are the key aspects here from our sources?
Well, the commentaries stress intense detachment, tīvra vairagya, from just chasing sense pleasure and keeping the mind constantly focused on the supreme.
Okay.
This detachment, interestingly, is said to increase inner energy, which helps with self-realization, and the idea of an Ishta Devata comes up.
A chosen form of God.
Exactly. A personal form to focus on in worship, especially early in meditation. It makes the abstract, absolute, a bit more graspable, a focal point for devotion.
Like a handhold on the climb. Makes sense. And what about someone who's actually achieved perfection through devotion? A Siddha Purusha, what are they like?
They're described as friendly, loving, compassionate, able to guide others based on where they are at, offering support without judgment.
Nice.
And importantly, the guru, the teacher, isn't just one person. It's seen as a guiding force that's bigger than any individual. The ultimate goal is seeing God everywhere, in everything. Sarvatra Samadarshana.
A universal perspective. Wow. Now, the Gita even talks about the end of life, our state of mind at death. Why is that moment so critical?
It emphasizes that where your consciousness is focused right at the moment of death, that's crucial. Directing your whole awareness to the Supreme Being, taking in all aspects of reality, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, etc. That's seen as paramount. The Supreme is described as, well, unthinkable, Asinsyodarpa, but also radiant, like the sun, Ajabarata. It's like the last thought sets the trajectory.
The final imprint determines the next step, and the promise is, reaching that state means no return to this abode of sorrow. Powerful motivation to cultivate that focus.
Absolutely. The commentaries also mention the huge cosmic cycles, Brahma's day and night, and differentiate between just cosmic rest and actual liberation.
Okay.
There's a Kramamukhi, gradual liberation through stages versus just dissolving immediately into Brahman. And two paths after death, a bright one to higher realms and a darker one that leads back here eventually.
So the journey continues, potentially, and our state at death really matters for the direction. The Gita also tackles God's glory, even saying that negative things exist because of God's underlying presence. That's tricky.
It is a tough one. The idea is that the divine essence is everywhere. So even in what looks negative, there's that divine spark, though maybe distorted on the surface.
Right.
And it contrasts worshiping limited gods for limited results versus seeing them all as facets of the one supreme being, a call to see the unity behind a diversity. And
Right.
crucially, the infinite can only be realized by the infinite within us.
Yeah.
Puts the onus right back on our own inner work.
Recognizing the divine spark everywhere, including within. Okay, nearly there. The sources talk about three types of faith, Shraddha, and the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. How do these affect things?
Big time. The type of faith you have, sattvic, pure, rajasic, passionate, or tamasic, ignorant, inert, shapes your actions, your food choices, charity, worship, everything.
Wow.
Similarly, the three gunas, as those qualities of nature, influence how you understand things, your drive, your determination, even your happiness. The goal spiritually is to cultivate sattva, purity, balance, clarity, as that's most conducive to wisdom.
So it's about actively nurturing the good, balanced qualities in ourselves. Makes sense. And the four varnas, the societal classifications. How should we understand that today?
The commentaries explain Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, not as rigid castes, but as representing different innate psychological tendencies or skills,
Oh, okay.
like intellect, leadership, protection, commerce, wealth creation, and service support. It's more about recognizing different natural inclinations and how they fit together for a functioning society, different strengths, different roles.
Recognizing diverse contributions, got it. And ultimately, after all this complexity, the Gita seems to circle back to surrender and devotion as a most direct route.
Yes, it really emphasizes focusing the mind on the divine, being devoted, offering up your actions, letting go of the ego that's presented as the core path.
Mm-hmm.
The Gita ends by saying, those who hold God dearest and share this wisdom with others out of devotion, they are dearest to God.
A really powerful way to wrap up such a deep exploration. Okay, after digging into all this, what are maybe one or two key things that really stand out for you? Wisdom our listener can maybe chew on.
Well, first, maybe that idea of the guru-disciple thing being dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Trust, real questions, active engagement, not just taking orders. That principle of actively seeking understanding. And it's useful everywhere in life, not just spirituality.
Yeah, definitely.
And second, maybe the nuanced view of karma, that our actions, especially the intention behind them and whether they're guided by wisdom, that really shapes our reality. It encourages mindfulness, acting with detachment.
Incredibly valuable points for navigating life more consciously. Absolutely. And as we finish up this deep dive, here's a thought for you, our listener, to carry away. Given everything we've discussed about action, inaction, finding that stillness within activity, how might you start to observe your own actions day to day? Where could you maybe engage with the world a little more consciously, a little less reactively, something to ponder?